A very good morning to all our distinguished guests, our students joining from all across the island through Zoom and YouTube Live. A kind reminder before we kick in, you can also take up this few minutes before we really start to give a ring, call up your friend, do remind them that we do have a motivational session happening right now. So first of all, we warmly welcome you to Target, an advanced level commerce seminar series focusing on bringing the best out of you. And here you are at the very first session that's about to kickstart it all. I'm Arshad Ismail from the University of Colombo, Faculty of Management and Finance, and I'll be your host for the hour. Project Target aims to cover the most vital subject areas that students find the most difficult in subjects such as accounting, business studies, and economics. The program would span across the entire month of October. And please do pass the message on to all of your friends because we believe that more the merrier. But that's not it. We also have a series of motivational sessions that's planned out to uplift every single one of you to bring out the best in you. And today's session is one of that. We have with us today a very special guest, someone who we came across a couple of weeks ago. And ever since then, he'd been the talk of the town. At least I'll say the talk at FML. He is a certified life coach, a certified strength and conditioning coach, a nutritional coach, the co-founder of Kaizen Fitness, an empowerment speaker, but more importantly, he's an individual who balances them all. And he is none other than Mr. Shoaib Jabbar. Without further ado, let me invite Mr. Shoaib. Mr. Shoaib, the floor is yours.
A very good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Arshad, for that extremely generous and kind introduction that you gave. I often don't identify myself from my certifications or qualifications because at the end of the day, it's a piece of paper, right? Just like the paper that you guys are about to sit for. Now, before I commence, can I get a green light from you guys that you can both hear me and see me clearly? A simple thumbs up would do.
Yes, we're good to go.
Lovely. Now, the second thing is there's only one condition in this entire discussion. I don't even the workshop or anything of that sort. This entire discussion is that the chat box needs to be super active, like super active. All right. Because at the end of the day, those of us who truly engage and participate are going to be the ones who take the most. We're also going to be the ones who contribute the most. And the reason I say contribute is you guys are going to actively be a part of this process of motivating yourselves as well as your colleagues who are here today. All right. So I'm going to keep my chat box open at all times. Now, before I commence, I want to hear from you, right? I want to hear from you. What are your troubles? What are your pain points in relation to facing your advanced level examination? So just quick one-liners in the chat box. All right. What are your pain points and what are your troubles that you are facing right now in relation specifically to your advanced level examinations? Let's get those answers rolling in the chat box. So while each and every one of you are putting in your pain points in the chat box, let me tell you a little bit about myself. And the only reason I want to tell you a little bit about myself is because of the fact that I too am a commerce student. Now, I wasn't a high flyer in terms of my academics in that I didn't, qualify for a local university. But for the record, had I qualified for a local university or to a local university, I would have taken the opportunity up. And I think it's important for me to say that because a lot of people in today's context, we speak a lot about, forgetting universities, forgetting academics completely, like forget that, just be an entrepreneur, do what you love, jump into it. And that's not completely wrong, right? That's not completely wrong. But I think that we're generalizing things a little bit too much. We're generalizing things a little bit too much. Now, hold on, all right? Because so my entire school career, right? I schooled at Royal College, Columbus 7. And I want to make mention at the start that that doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? Because some of us sometimes think that because of the institution we attended or the privileges that we have in our life, that we're somehow bigger or better, right? There's nothing of that sort. At the end of the day, all of us are Sri Lankan, and even if we don't want to call ourselves Sri Lankan, at a fundamental level, we are humans. Now, I do accept that depending on who we are and the circumstances that we're born to, we have certain inherent advantages and disadvantages, but those don't necessarily have to define us, right? So please don't feel like just because I'm not from the school that you went to, that I'm some kind of alien or I'm different in any sort. And please don't feel that if you are from the school that I went to, that you're superior or better than everybody else, because none of those two are true, right? This life is really is what we make of it. So I myself, I'm a commerce student. I got one B and two C's. That's a B for business studies and a C for economics and a C for accounting, right? I was thrilled with my results. I was absolutely thrilled. I still remember the day I got my results, right? So I was a prefect in college at the time. And so in our school, prefectship is after your A levels, and I was in the grade 9 block, right? I was in the grade 9 block on the top floor. It was the end of exams, right? It was the end of exams. And there were clear directives from the principal for us to make sure that every child leaves school as soon as possible after the exam. Because there was a school fight was going to happen. Third floor of the grade 9, and because I was just the biggest champion for my A levels, like she was the one behind me saying, you got to somehow get through this examination, you got to do something, right? And she was the most worried because we did not at all, right? We did not study at all. Not because we thought not studying was cool or that, but I believed I had the intellect to at least get to my exams. But I was an avid rugby player in college. I spent 9 years in college playing rugby. And that's apart from, the clubs, the societies, and all of the stuff that we used to do, right? So it often left very little time for our study. And the reason I want to relate this story to you is I am speaking to you as somebody who got through my A levels with very minimal effort and minimal work, right? So if I can address that group, any group that has done beyond that is already in the clear, right? You're already in the clear. And then, of course, you have the question of those of us who might want to get those 3 A's or get a particular, mark or hit that Z score, right? So let's address those categories respectively, right? So as somebody who did all of that, who used to get like nothing above 25 marks for any of those subjects, who took one CR book, 120-page single rule CR book for accounts, right? Meaning I wrote all three subjects in one book. I did accounts, econ, and business studies all in that one book, right? All in that one book. I would first few pages, then in the mid section do economics, and in the back section I would do business studies. Tired from training, so I would utilize any period where I could get away with it to sleep, right? Not to do anything notorious, just to sleep so I would be fresh for rugby practices in the evening, right? In relation to my trading goals, so that would often be in my economics period because we were economics period towards the last done my document signing, and then the last bit I would used to eat and maybe put a nap before training, right? Not exactly to do this, but I'm just trying to tell you, finish my last rugby match of the season, which was against St. Peter's College. I remember it was a knockout tournament. I was kind of happy at that point that we got knocked out because I had a reasonable amount of time for me to yet do something for my exam. I had exactly 1 month for my A level examination, just 1 month, right? Exactly 1 month. Now, up until then, I had done a few classes here and there because my mom was pressurizing me, additional tuition classes just to make sure that I had something. But like I told you, my marks were nothing more than 25. Nothing more than 25. Okay. Um, in that 1 month, I really did the best I could. Right. In that 1 month, everything was around, right, doing the best that I can for my A levels. Now, I'm not an impractical guy. I'm not an unrealistic guy. I was not expecting 3 A's. Honestly, if I got 3 C's, right, if I just got or 3 S's, even, I would have been okay. Even the exam would have been amazing. Right? It would have been amazing, right? And I in an early stage in life, just simply because of my
Excuse me, Mr. Shoaib.
okay, so there's more
Can
than
you?
one person saying it's not. Yes.
Yes. Small concern. The video is a bit lagging and the audio as well. Is there anything that we could do? The video,
Let
video
me
and
try
the.
switching my Wi-Fi connection.
All right, cool. Just give us a few seconds till our speaker is back.
Is it better by any chance, guys?
Yes. Sounds a bit good.
Okay. Sorry.
No.
All right. So let's get back to the story. Okay. So I can be heard now, right?
Yeah, it's a little better than before, but not perfect.
Can I
Perfect,
be
I'd
heard?
say.
Okay. I can see a lot of people aggressively agreeing about Wi-Fi. Yeah, the feeling is mutual, guys. Feeling is mutual. Okay. All right. So, guys, yeah, 1 month to go for my A levels. In that 1 month, I really put in everything I could. I ate, I drank, I slept, I did everything in order to optimize the way that I study and everything that I could do for my advanced level examination. And I think that's very relevant for each and every one of you because you all don't have much time for your A level, right? If you can just put in the chat box, when does your exam start? Like when you guys start your exam? November 15th. Okay, so October, November, right? Okay, so you guys have more than a month, right? You guys have more than a month. You have more time than I did. Okay. And I'm an average student. Like I'm not a high flyer. I've never gotten like A's and like big gradings. Okay. So the first thing I can tell you is within a month, I managed to get 1B and 2C's. So if any of you can already get 3 S's, my friends, you can only get better in this 1 month, right? And your goal, guys, should be something that is not overwhelming, right? If you're a student who's currently scoring 70s, right, then please work on getting 80s and 90s. If you're currently getting 90s, currently failing. If currently, based on your exam results, you are failing, focus on getting 3 S's, right? Guys, look, we need to work step by step. I'll get into the scientific reasoning as to why you shouldn't put overwhelming goals, right? How overwhelming goals. I saw a lot of you putting procrastination in the chat box, right? Unrealistic goals or scary goals can sometimes be one of the biggest reasons for us to procrastinate. Okay, I can't be heard again, I think. Is that the case for everyone? Can I not be heard again?
Mr. Shoaib, shall we give it a try without maybe having the video off for a few minutes? Maybe that would improve the quality of the sound.
Sure.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Wasn't that great? Will you
Hello?
mind repeating? Okay, yes, I hear your
Not
level.
much of a difference. All right. Give me one. Let me try hotspotting my phone in case that works. Just give me 1 second.
All right, cool. All right, so till Mr. Shoaib's back, I think Zoom quota is pretty much filled. So just to let you all know, so there is also a YouTube live that is being streamed along with this. So if you all do have any friends worrying that they could not make it to Zoom, they could always log into YouTube, right? The same event is being streamed on YouTube as well. So I do see a lot of participation on the chat box, just as Mr. Shoaib wanted. We do hear your concerns. We do hear all of your problems. So, but we'll guarantee that we will address them in the time to come. So, till Mr. Shoaib is back, I'll just give you all a bit more insight on what we will be doing, since I've been getting so much of messages the past couple of days, a few from my students, a few from people that I've not even seen or heard. So what exactly would happen here in Project Target? It is a seminar series combined with a few motivational sessions that will go across the entire month of October. So just to let you all know, we're looking at maybe around a 4 to 5 sessions per subject. So we've also decided on maybe the toughest topics. And I would also request you all, would you all mind sending me maybe the topics that you all find that is difficult on the chat box? So I could also make note of those as well and see if we could incorporate a few lecturers, maybe a few teachers from the commerce stream that could actually teach them to your. So yes, the chat box is open. Any topics? We've decided a few topics as well after we've done a bit of surveys. So any topic related to, let's say, accounting, business studies, and also economics, right? So I see a lot of uh, answers coming in, some privately to me, some to everyone, right? So do send in. We will have the chat saved as well, and then we will get back to you with the correct teacher for the right topic. So I think Mr. Shoaib is back. Mr. Shoaib, are we good to go?
Yes, let's give it a try. Can you hear me and see me better?
Yes, perfect. Looks good now.
Oh, thank God. Okay. All right. So yes, like I was saying, so that if I could have done that in just 1 month, if any of you are currently failing, you have hope, my friend. You're not going to fail, right? You're not going to fail. But I can't tell you that you're not going to fail. You need to start saying that you're not going to fail, right? And I will talk to you about the power of thought, right? Now, I know a lot of you have put a lot of concerns in the chat box, but let's all accept that if anyone is currently going to fail, that's going to be your biggest concern to start off with. Okay, let's just flip this over. Yeah, so that's going to be your biggest concern in terms of preparing for this exam. Now, even if you aren't the person who's failing and you're somebody who is currently in your C's or B's or trying to go for your A's, let me tell you guys, we are speaking at the right point in time. This is that turning point. If you've been sitting around waiting, wondering, am I gonna get through? Am I not? Am I gonna get those A's? Am I gonna get those B's? Today is that day. Right? Today is that day. I want each and every one of you to have a piece of paper and pen with you throughout this, right? Because we're going to write down a few things, right? We are going to write down a few things. But these things we write down are going to be personal. They're going to be according to you, right? According to you. So I need you to write this down. The first thing that I want you to write down, right? I want you to write down on top of the paper is today, this moment, right? You don't even have to say today, you can say this moment is the right moment. All right. This moment is the right moment. Okay. And after that, it's going to be a blank. This moment is the right moment. And the last bit is going to be a blank. The reason it's going to be a blank is because it's going to differ for each and every one of you. If you're somebody who is going to fail, I want you to write down this moment is the moment that I decide I am not going to fail. right? Or even better, don't write not going to fail. Write down, I am going to get through my examination. Right? I am going to get through my examination. If you're feeling a little ambitious, maybe you can even say, I'm going to get through my examination with a minimum of this grade for this subject, this grade for this subject, and this grade for this subject. Now, those are for the people who feel they're not going to get through. They're going to fail, right? And then every other category, people who are in C's, B's, and A's, I want you to write down this moment is the moment that I decide, and not my mom, not my dad, not my teacher, right? Not my employer. This moment is the moment that I decide that I am going to get, and write down whatever it is that you want to get. Okay. I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds to do that because maybe you need to think through what you want to get, right? I want you to write that down because the language that we use is very important. The language that we use is very important. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, didn't wake up one day and say, maybe I will create Apple. He didn't wake up one day and say, I'd be happy if I founded a company like Apple. He didn't say that I wish I had a company like that. No, those are not his words of choice. His words of choice was, I intend to make a dent in the world. See, the language we use is very powerful. He said, I intend to make a dent in the world. Intend is very different to wish, happy, those are very vague, ambiguous things. And that's why we're not writing, I wish I passed my exam. No, no, no. I intend. This moment is when I decide that I am going to get through. I am going to get this grade. I am going to get la di da di da, whatever that is for you. This is that moment, guys. Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. This is that moment that you write that down and you take that decision. So are we good? Have we all gotten that written down? Have we all gotten that written down? Why are we writing things down and not just discussing things? Research shows us that when you look at the brain scans of people who write versus the people who type versus the people who merely think, the brain scans are significantly different. The number of areas that are activated in the human mind when you're only thinking are fewer than when you're thinking and typing, meaning on your devices, on your computers. But the number of areas in your brain that light up when you're writing with pen and paper or pencil and paper or anything in paper is the highest. That's when your brain is most stimulated, which means the most number of areas in your brain are active, right? And which also means the level of connection, we call these neuro connections. You say neurons that wire together, fire together. So the strength of your neuron is the highest when you're writing. This is why we say write your goals, write your ambition. But even with your exam, don't you best remember your theories when you keep practicing writing them for your answers? Isn't that when you really, really remember it? Right? That's how it was for me. And that's what the research shows as well. That's why we're writing things down and not just having a chat here today. Right? We're here with intention. We're here with purpose today. We're here to accomplish something. Right? We're going to set our mindsets right. We're going to set our routines right today. You have plenty of time to ace this exam and get through this examination. There's nothing stopping you other than the decision. You decide today, this moment, and we're going to write that down. We're going to write that down. All right. So I assume that you guys have written that by now. The chat box also indicates that you have. All right. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being so interactive. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for writing all of these things down. Thank you for participating. Thank you for messaging me in the inbox. Because honestly, I wouldn't have the energy. This energy that I'm projecting to you is the energy that you are projecting to me. So if you guys are dead and down, my output is also going to be low, right? So thank you so much. A lot of you have direct messaged me as well saying that you guys have done it. Brilliant. All right. So we've set our intention. You set your intention on what you want to achieve. Now I want to talk to you about the power of thought because the human mind has about 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Let that sink in. 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. The human mind. 80% of those thoughts, 80% of the 60 to 80,000 are negative. Right? 60 to 80,000 thoughts and 80% of that is negative. What are the negative thoughts? Negative thoughts are, will I pass my exam? I'm going to fail my exam. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. My mom said I'm stupid. Or my dad said that, I'm not going to make it. or my friends say that, I'm a failure, or my significant other, he doesn't want me anymore, or even if I get through my A levels, I'm not going to make it to university. Right? All kinds of crazy thoughts. Right? I want you to comment one in the chat box if you guys have any of these thoughts popping up into your mind. Any of these negative thoughts about failing, about not being able to memorize, I won't remember it in the exam, all kinds of drama, all kinds of drama in your mind every single day, right? Yeah, of course. If any of you say you don't, then you're not human, right? You're not human. I'll tell you why. The human mind has a thing called the negativity bias. The negativity bias. Now, guys, neither you nor I created us, God created us. When God created us, He already built us in a certain way, right? We were made in a certain way, right? So we were installed the software, just like your iPhone or your Samsung or your Android phone comes with an OS, right? So the human brain also comes with an OS, right? Now, can we customize it? Yeah, we can customize it, but by far and large, it's the same, right? It's the same, right? So the human mind has a thing called a negativity bias. The negativity bias is the mind's ability to look for danger. To look for danger. Why look for danger? Because the human's most strongest instinct is survival. Right? That's why we have survived through the years. Right? Regardless of many things, like mankind has been able to survive. Because when our lives are at danger, we are able to forget everything and just focus on surviving, right? So because of that, we have a thing called a negativity bias. Now, negativity bias is not a bad thing. It's not a bad, it's a protective mechanism. For example, you guys go on a hike, right? You're on a hike and you're walking through the jungle, right? And there's one path that's clear, okay? There's one path that's clear, and there's one path that's not so clear, covered in bushes, covered in trees. Obviously, the second path has a more potential for danger because you can't really see. There could be snakes, there could be other creatures, there could be thorns, there could be so many things that could harm you. Your negativity bias will tell you if I go that way, I might die, right? If I go that way, I might get injured, I might get hurt. That's your negativity bias. So if you didn't have that, you'll be a hopeless optimist, right? You'll just walk into it without doing anything, right? So your negativity bias will force you to take the safer path, the known path, the visible path, right? That's your negativity bias. So the point I'm trying to make is the fact that you have negative thoughts is not your fault. It's not your fault. But think about this. You've got these two paths, right? And you know that if you go down the same path that you've been going every single day, that's clear, that's visible, you'll go to a known destination. You won't get any new experiences, nothing will change. Agreed. Okay. And then you have this unknown path that's full of adventure, full of possibility and danger. Danger as well. Okay. So your inherent instinct is don't go that way. But what if, just like in finance, just like in economics, right? Just like in business strategy, when there's an unknown path we want to take, we try to minimize and mitigate the risk, right? We try to minimize and mitigate the risk. Okay. So the better option would be, okay, first assess the risk. Has anybody gone down that path before? Can I get information from them so that I can reduce the amount of uncertainty? Can I wear some kind of protective gear? Can I wear some kind of protective gear so that when I go down that path, I don't get injured or don't get damaged? Because if I do maximum preparation, I can minimize my risk, right? I can minimize my risk, just like you guys. If you do maximum preparation, it doesn't guarantee you will get certain results. It doesn't guarantee you will get through your exam. It doesn't guarantee you'll know all the answers, but it reduces the chances of you failing. It increases the chances of you knowing the answer, right? That's what preparation is about at the end of the day, right? So if you take that option, you're likely to find a new path, new experiences, new adventures, new answers, and a much better quality of life. Now, that's a very basic example of you on a hike, but the same is true for our thoughts. Where do negative thoughts come from? Does anybody know? Where does negative thoughts come from? Does it come from the past? Does it come from the present? Or does it come from the future? Where does negative thinking come from? I want to hear your answers. Some say future, some say past, some say uncertain. Interesting. Okay, all right, cool. So there's a lot of answers to do with. I think I saw one which is the right answer. Probably a mix of all three. It's actually, guys, a mix of two, right? Because Negativity and fear, right? Negativity and fear come from a few known sources. Fear of judgment, fear of judgment. What will people think of? All right, how will I look to others? Fear of failure. What if I don't make it? Right? What if I don't make it? Fear of unknown. I've never done this before. Right? You know how might things turn out, right? So just a few sources of fear. And there are multiple sources, but those are a few known sources. Negative thinking, according to the research, right? The same research that I told you about the 60 to 80,000 thoughts. Out of the 80,000 thoughts, 80% are negative. And do you know that 80% of those negative thoughts are on repeat? They're on repeat, meaning the same negative thought you think, you rethink, and you think it again. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. Right? It's the same damn thought that's going on from morning till night. Right? You might have noticed this. Okay. So the reason negativity comes from the past and the future is because of uncertainty. Right? It's because of uncertainty or the inability to make a difference. See, in life, our worries, our thoughts can be categorized into two: things we can control and things we can't control. Right? For example, if you're worried about is it going to rain tomorrow, there isn't much you can do. Okay, you can check the weather report, but we all know how accurate the weather forecast is, right? So if you keep thinking about will it rain tomorrow, there's going to be a little bit of negativity, right? Just like your exam, you can't predict the exact outcome you're going to get. You can't predict the exact question that's going to come in the exam, right? And even if you can narrow down the areas, you won't be able to know the exact question. That gives you fear of uncertainty. That gives you worry. That gives you anxiety. When you think about your past, that thing you said to someone you loved, which you wish you didn't say, right? Or you hadn't said, rather. Or that thing you did in the past, or the thing that someone did to you in the past, which makes you either angry, depressed, upset, regret, that's in the past. And those are some examples of where negativity comes. But if I was to ask you those two situations of the future, the unknown outcome in the future, and the irreversible past, can any of you control that? That's what I want to know. I told you that your thoughts can be categorized into the known, or rather, sorry, things you can do something about and things you can't do anything about, right? The thought, exactly, right? The answer is no. You can't. You can't change the past, nor can you predict the future 100%. And when you try to change the past or when you live in the past, you live in negative. You leave room for negative. When you try to 100% predict the future or control the outcome, you have anxiety and uncertainty. And this is where that 60 to 80,000 and 80% of that of thoughts which are negative, which are 80% of the time on repeat, come from. So if you and I can categorize the things we can change and can't change, and you focus on the things you can change without you even knowing, you will live in what we call the present. Why is it that we do meditation for, you know, developing our awareness, our presence in the moment? Why is it that when we do that, almost everyone, whether it's a spiritual meditation or whether it is a scientific meditation or whatever the meditation is, why do we always talk about breath? Focus on your breath. Breathe. Why? Because your breath is not in the past, neither is your breath in the future. Your breath is right now. It keeps you in the present moment. And in that moment, you're not negative. In that moment, you're not worried. You're not anxious. You're just doing what you need to do. Breathe to live. Now, if you can adopt that same mindset for your A level examination or life at large, man, you'd be a real winner. Imagine if you could only focus on doing your revision. Imagine if you could only focus on answering the past paper right now. Instead of allowing the uncertainty of the future or the regret of the past to stop you from doing what you need to do now to improve yourself, to get better, to work towards your goals. These are very few words that I have spoken, that they have a deep rooted wisdom. See, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's somebody who does, research into the power of thought. Right, he's dedicated his entire life into the power of thought. And what he says is most of us live in the past. Most of us live in the past. Either we live in the past we can't change or the future that's uncertain. That's why we're always negative, anxious, worried, and all of these emotions that don't serve us. They don't serve us. See, guys, in my example of in the jungle, animal going to attack you, there is a point in these emotions. But in your A level examination, in your relationship, in your career, these emotions don't serve us very well. It doesn't serve us very well, right? When you're worried and anxious, you don't think your best, you don't do your best. Why? Worry and anxiety, the emotion in the body, is preparing you for physical performance, right? Because we're primitive beings, right? We're primitive beings. So in the moment of worry and anxiety, what your body is getting ready for is either defense or getting away, right? In the example of an animal going to attack you, you're not going to do critical thinking. No? You're not going to do calm thinking, right? You're not going to think about future ideas, about how you can answer the examination question, recall your memory. No, it's like, how am I not going to die? That's all you're thinking, right? How am I not going to die, right? But the thing is, that same thought is not applicable when your boss is shouting at you, when your teacher is shouting at you, when your loved one is leaving you, when you're sitting for your exam. You're not going to die. No one's going to die, right? But your body can't understand the difference. Your body can't understand the difference. Thoughts are the language of the mind, and emotions are the language of the body. Fear, anxiety, worry are emotions, right? They create fear. They create, and all of these secrete certain hormones in the body that make your body respond in a particular way. And let me tell you that cortisol, the stress hormone, does not help you perform better, right? It creates inflammation in the body, which slows down your performance, right? So what we have to try to do is, let me ask you a question. Can you stop negative thoughts from coming into your mind? And can you stop feeling emotions? Or can you stop your feelings? Because it's important we understand this. Because some of us might think the really high performers, the high achievers are people who don't feel negative emotions, who don't think negative things, right? Who never, no. Yeah, so all of you are very intelligent. You understand that we are human beings and human beings have a negativity bias. If you have a negativity bias, you are inevitably going to get negative thoughts, going to worry about the future. That's what makes you human. That's why we haven't died. That's why we are surviving. But that's only good for survival. It's not good for thriving. In order to thrive, we need to focus on the present. What we have to do right now. If you have an assignment sitting in front of you, worrying about are you going to get through is not going to do a damn thing. It's the work that you put in that's going to make the difference, right? But it's important for you to realize that just because a negative thought or two or a negative emotion or two come into you, that's not the end of it, right? What's the practice of meditation? Meditation is not about staying focused. It's about practicing focus. It's about practicing focus. If you sit down to meditate and you close your eyes and you breathe and then you remember that brownie you ate yesterday, that's not the end of your meditation practice. The practice is how can I go back from the brownie to my breath? That's meditation. That's simply what it is, and that's why it doesn't have to be in a particular position or in a particular. There's no particularity for meditation. For some people, art is meditation because all they're focusing on is the art. That's meditation. And then while painting, they remember they're hungry and they want to eat lunch. Then you remember the biryani. But you continue painting. You come back to the painting. That's meditation. All right. And the same is true for being present. The same is true for awareness, for being in the moment. Right? These are very practical things. No human being is perfect or will ever be perfect. All right. Great. So we've understood a few things now. We've understood a few things now. Right? We understood that negativity is a part of the human. You can't change that. Right? And we understood that out of these 60 to 80,000 thoughts, 80% are negative, 80% of those thoughts are on repeat. And we understood the source of this negativity. It's either your past failures, past mistakes, past regrets, or the future uncertainties. But you and I also understood you can't change that past, nor can you predict the future, which only leaves us with one variable. This is simpler than you think, right? It only leaves us with one variable, which is what am I doing right now? That's the only thing that you can influence. That's the only thing that you can influence. Now, this is very much applicable and relevant to each and every one of you who are preparing for your examination. Your past exam results, how hard you studied 1 year ago, how great you did 1 year ago, nobody cares, and none of that is going to predict what's going to happen in the future. And guess what? You can't predict the future as well. You don't know what's coming for the exam, and that's the reality. All you can do is focus on the now. I'll give you a little bit of a scientific experiment to prove to you, right? To prove to you. So remember, I told you about Dr. Joe Dispenza. So what he says is, most of us are living in the record of the past. We wake up in the morning and we remember the past. When we remember the past, we feel certain emotions, maybe sadness, maybe anxiety, maybe whatever. When we feel that, our body secretes the hormones to support that. When those hormones secrete, it gives a feedback to the mind saying, see, I told you were wrong. I told you what you did was bad. I told you're a failure. We confirm these thoughts by the hormones that are secreting in the body. So most of us are stuck in this. We're all living in the past. Or we're worried about the future. What will happen? Will it work? What if I fail? What if I don't have enough money? What if she doesn't like me? All these crazy thoughts, to none of which we can confirm, right? And because of that, we wake up and we live every single day the same way. How many of you feel that? You wake up and you do the same thing every day. You know you need to change. You know you need to do something different, but you're not doing it. You're not doing it. Right? You're not making the change. You know you want to sleep earlier, but you're not sleeping earlier. You know you want to eat better, but you're not eating better. You know you want to read more of that paragraph, but you're not reading it. You're not doing that fast. You know. Nobody here, like you guys are asking me things like how to study, what to study. Guys, I don't have that answer, right? I don't have that answer, right? Because you have that, you already know which subjects are you weak in, how much more work you need to do. If you don't know what to do, you know which friend knows to do it better. You know you can contact them. You know you can, you know all of this. None of y'all have an information issue. Y'all lack action. Not y'all, even me, all of us. What we lack is action. Tim Ferriss says that Q&A shouldn't be question and answer. It should be question and action. Question and action. You need to shift to this mentality. Question and action. Start taking action until you apply, until you take action. You never know if the information you collected was even correct. Right? That's the reality. You don't even know if it's correct. Entrepreneurs who succeed are not the ones who plan and plan and plan and plan. You think Steve Jobs planned Apple? He didn't know a damn thing. He just did what he felt needed to be done now. I need money now, get money. I need new software, get. That's what he did. Yeah, sure. After it was a company, they had, CEOs and managers and talking about strategy and all of that. All Steve Jobs had was a vision, and all he did was focus on what he needs to do now. All right. Think about the greatest of sportsmen in the world. What do they do in the match? They focus on what they need to do now. Kumar Sangakkara, when he's batting, he's focusing on batting. Not about, am I going to win the match? Right? You win the match eventually, but what do you need to do right now? All right. So I need you all to take down whatever notes you need to take down from this. You know what hit you hardest. Some of you are sending me messages, this hit me hard, this is motivating, right? Guys, right now you will feel motivated. You will feel motivated because we're all in this same space of wanting to get better and do better. But the moment this ends, by tomorrow, this motivation will die down. It will die down. I promise you. Motivation is a myth. I don't rely on motivation. Motivation for me is a plus. If it comes, it comes. I rely on discipline. You do what you need to do to get to where you need to get, whether you feel like you want to do it or not. Why do I say that? Why do I say whether you feel like it or not? Because how you feel right now, could be because of the past, or it could be because of the future. Two things I can't control. If I allow those emotions to control me, I won't be able to do what I need to do now. That's where discipline comes in. Motivation is overrated and discipline is underrated. Discipline is not always fun, right? But it can be fun sometimes. I'll give you an example. I'm currently, after a long break, I've decided to finish my last stage of SEMA. Now, when I'm finishing my last stage of SEMA, see, I know that I'm not doing this to use specifically the knowledge. Right? I'm doing this for a different strategic objective that I'm trying to achieve, right? So I'm not really motivated to do SEMA. So I've come up with ways to make it work, right? I've developed systems. For example, when I take my book, I know where I stopped last. And I have a target that I create for myself, which is based on practicality. Look, I run a business, I do my consultation, I have a family, right? I am a human, so I procrastinate. With all of those realities, I create some kind of a goal that I want to achieve. And when I create that goal, I take a bookmark. I can probably show you. So I always have a couple of bookmarks, right? Like even now. So this bookmark currently is where I stopped at the moment, right? But I also use multiple other bookmarks in order to create targets, right? So if I'm starting at page 10, I will keep a target at page 20 so that I can visually see how much I need to study. And when I hit page 20, I give myself a reward. And that reward can be watching a Netflix episode. That reward could be maybe scrolling a little bit on Instagram, right? I'll talk about the picking the right rewards later, okay? But just to give you an example, right? Because guys, discipline, creating systems, that's what gets you where you want to go, not motivation. Motivation, it can come, it may come. If it's there, it's good, okay? But by far and large, it's difficult to get daily motivation, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you guys think Cristiano Ronaldo, Kumar Sangakkar, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, right, Mahatma Gandhi, or any other person that you consider to be great, like could be your religious personality, it could be Lord Buddha, it could be Prophet Muhammad, right, it could be Jesus Christ, whoever it is that you think of, right? Do you think they were motivated every single day, every step of the way? I want your answers in the chat box. Do you think they were motivated? Right. So there's an overwhelming response of no, right? No. Were they motivated sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But they had two things. They had a purpose and they had discipline. They had a purpose and they had discipline. So my question is, all of you all know, right? All of you all know that motivation is not something that's always there. It doesn't always come. And yet I know 80% of you all, at least 80% of you all are waiting for motivation. Am I right? Were you waiting for some kind of motivation to get started with your studies? Yeah. Even I do it sometimes. Yeah. All of you all, most of you all, actually everyone says yes. Right. They are funny creatures, no? Human beings are funny creatures. We know the answer, but we're not taking action. And that's okay. We're not here to judge each other. We're not here to make fun of each other. We're here to understand and realize things. I'm sure all of you have realized by now that, okay, you know what? I just need to start taking action. I just need to start doing the damn past paper. Because when I do it, I'll figure out what I don't know, right? Let me look at the answer and write the answer first. That's okay. That's all right, right? I used to have like stupid thoughts those days, like, don't look at the past paper till you finish studying completely because you'll waste the question. That's such a crazy thing to think. You know, I've done, when I was doing my BSc, I've done so many past paper questions, right? And the second time I did it, I still got the answer wrong. Has anybody done that? Has anybody gone through that? Right? I can see you guys comment in the chat box saying yes. Guys, because no one is that great. You can't just do one thing once and then remember everything. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So stop overthinking things, stop creating things that are not real, and start taking action. Right. So please, the first takeaway, right? The first takeaway today is take action. Take action. You can't change the past. You can't predict the future. You can act now. Focus on what you can. Focusing on what you can now is one of the largest reservoirs of positivity and hope, right? Positivity and hope. Sure, you can have practices like gratitude, being grateful, being thankful, which also increase your positivity. But for me, that's more of a feel good thing. You feel good, you operate from a place of abundance. But positivity comes from the now, right? And you know what? If you focus on the now, if you put in the work, guess what? Whether you like it or not, there'll be an outcome. And the outcome, my friend, is what gives you motivation. Because words, people can speak words, but when you achieve, now that is real motivation. That is what you call real motivation, right? The subject of motivation is a whole other topic. I'll talk about it maybe on a different occasion, but let's stick to our agenda here today, right? Because I want to give you just three key points today to take home. Okay, three key points. Our first key point is the power of thinking, the power of thoughts, the things we think, right? In that only we covered all of this area, right? I'll end that area with one example to show you how powerful what you think is. Okay, the scientists at the University of Duke did a bit of an experiment, right? Now they know that adults, the favorite thing to get a person to do an experiment is food. You tell somebody you're giving them free food and free drinks, they'll come to do the experiment, right? They also like that. No, if somebody invites us for a treat, are we gonna not go? Right? Maybe don't go these days because of coronavirus, but if we can, we'll get them to even Uber into the house, right? That's how much we love food. Okay. So in that context, what they did was they got down two groups to one cafe on two different occasions. So the first group came and they sat down. They gave them a nice milkshake and a kind of a bakery product. So it's like a donut kind of bagel kind of thing, right? And they gave these two products to them, and they also gave a sheet of paper. And the sheet of paper said what's in the donut and what's in the milkshake. right? So the experiment was after these people. Now, you guys may or may not know. So, in nutritional sciences, we study how when you eat certain food items, the impact of it can be assessed by your blood. For example, if you eat something that's high in sugar, your blood sugar levels will go up, right? That can be tested. So the process of the experiment was take a group, give them food, and check their indicators. What happened to their indicators in the body? So now the first group came, sat down, gave them the meal, and gave them the sheet of paper. Now this sheet of paper told them that what they are about to eat is something that has lower calories, less sugar, right, and more nutrition. So the people came, they ate. What did it have? Less sugar, less calories, more nutrition. So let me ask you guys, does that sound like something that's good for your body or bad for your body? In the first group, does it sound like something that's good or bad? It sounds like something good. That's a pretty easy answer. Then the second group came in. The second group came in and they too were given a milkshake and a bagel slash donut. And they also were given a sheet of paper. But their sheet of paper, the ingredients were high sugar, high calories, and it was like one of the yummiest shakes and yummiest kind of, bagel, right? So, in terms of their indicators, do you think their indicators would have been good or bad? The people who had high calorie, high fat, high sugar, it would have been bad, right? Obviously, it would have been bad, right? So what they did was after they gave each of these two meals to the people, after a little while, they took the blood tests and all the tests that they need to take. And then they took it back to the lab and they analyzed group A and group B. Out of group A and group B, who do you all think had better results or better vitals? Group A or group B? Those who got the the low calorie, yeah, exactly, group A. All of you say group A. Obviously, no man. And you're correct. You're correct. The results that came showed that group A had better indicators than group B. But let me tell you the catch of this whole experiment. Does anybody know what the catch is? Can anybody think what the catch is in this experiment? Yes, Huzi, you're spot on. Both meals were the exact same damn meal. The same meal, the same milkshake, the same bagel donut. The only thing different was a sheet of paper that they gave. Which means, based on what they thought, even how their body responded was different. You see the power of how powerful what you think is? Do you see that? Right? Why did Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time, say out loud, I am the champion, I am the greatest? Who was he saying that to? Was he saying it to his opponent? Was he saying it to the crowd? Was he saying it to the referee? He was saying it to himself. Your mind is listening to your thoughts, is listening to your words, is listening to the words, the information around you. If you surround yourself with people who are always talking about failure and how things won't work, you start believing that. You start becoming that. And the opposite is also true. If you speak, Muhammad Ali is a great example of if the people around you aren't speaking good about you or about the possibility of becoming who you want to be or the achievements you want to achieve, then you do it. You have the greatest responsibility to motivate you. You have the greatest responsibility to take action for you. You have the greatest responsibility to make progress in your life. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister, not the government, not the country. None of them. It is you who is responsible. All right. So my ending note on the first segment is your thoughts are powerful. If you keep thinking about failure, guess what you're heading towards? If you keep thinking about passing, guess what you're heading towards? If you keep thinking about acing your exam, guess where you're heading? If you write it on a bristle board and stick it on the damn wall in front of you so that every time you wake up, every time you walk into your study room, you see what you want to do with your A levels. You see why your A levels is important. You see the goals you want to hit. You say it out loud every single day when you wake up before you go to sleep. Your body will start preparing you for success. Your body will secrete the hormones that you need to be the greatest, to be the champion, like the great Muhammad Ali did. Manage your thoughts. Manage your thoughts. Work towards coming towards the present. I'm not asking any of you to not have negative thoughts. That's not practical. I'm not asking any of you to forget the past. Not practical. I'm not asking any of you to not worry about the future. Not practical. All I'm asking you is every time you remember the past and every time you worry about the future, try to come back to the present. That is all I'm saying. So, few key takeaways. Your thoughts are powerful. Manage your thoughts. Try to live in the present. All right. That's where you're going to get your positivity. And the last part is take action. Thoughts alone, planning alone, strategy alone, motivation alone ain't going to give you anything. Are we good? Are we good? Are we clear? All right. Brilliant. There are a lot of questions about hormones of positivity and all of that. I feel that would be another deep topic, yeah, because your serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. Those are your four hormones that, if secreted, can help you elevate your mood, your focus, and all of that. Right? Maybe I can add that in the last part in terms of your routines. All right, let's move on to the next part. Now, this next part is going to be a little bit contradictory because I just spoke about all the amazing things that you can do to perform at your best and ace this damn exam to the best of your abilities. Right? When I say ace, I'm talking about to the best of your abilities. The second key takeaway I want all of you all to take home today is no one cares about your damn A level exam. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares if you pass or fail, right? Even you shouldn't care so much. And now this is a very contradictory because whoa, this guy just took a U-turn. Like, what is he going on about? Okay. Your A level doesn't mean anything, guys. It doesn't prove anything about you. I'm telling you that. All right. I'm 27 now, and looking back, it means nothing. But why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you that it means nothing? The reason I'm telling you it means nothing is I want you to understand that at the end of the day, this is a paper. It's a piece of paper that you're going to look at. It's going to ask you some things based on a syllabus that was created by another person or a group of people. Then, to the best of your abilities of what you remember, your experiences, what you had, you're going to write some answers. And then a whole group of other people you've never seen or met who may be certified and qualified to decide if you're right or wrong will mark you to some scheme that was created by a group of people. And then we grade you. A students, B students, C students. Do you really think that's a awesome way of classifying people? Do you really think that's an awesome way of defining if you're worth it, if you are valuable, if you have a future, right? If you're a good human being? No. All of you all agree, no. Right? And the reason I want you to realize this is to take away this fake pressure that society and the system has put on you and I. Because this pressure is not going to help you get through the exam. This pressure is not going to help you get through the exam. Stop caring about this so much. I'm not saying not to do the work. That was part one. Part one was do the work, focus on the process, do what you need to do now, take action. But stop thinking that this is going to define your future. It's not. Sure, it will choose the route you take, but it doesn't mean anything more than that. It doesn't mean anything more than that. There are millions of people in the world who haven't done their A levels who are far more successful than people who have PhDs. But there are also people who have PhDs who are successful in the world. So my point is neither your A levels, nor being a college dropout, nor being an entrepreneur, nor being a coach, nor being a mother or a father makes you successful. None of that makes you successful. The only thing that keeps the human mind happy is growth. That's the only thing. I don't care how excited you are to get 3 A's for your A-level examination. That excitement will die in a week. It will die in a week once you get your results and it says 3 A's. Now you start worrying about your degree. Then you'll do your degree and you'll worry about your master's. Then you'll do your master's and you'll worry about your job. Then you'll get your job and for the rest of your life you'll worry about promotion. Then you'll worry about then once you've done everything, you worry about retirement. Then in your retirement, you worry about dying. Right? So it's a never-ending cycle, right? So I completely think that basically of habits is good. Say you want to get promoted. That's why after you want to keep moving up in your career, in the ladder. Why? I'm lagging again. Okay now, guys? Is it better? Anybody? Have you lost me
The
completely? Am I
video
lagging?
seems
Am I clear? Can I be heard?
seems
Can I be
stuck,
seen?
but the audio is getting better. The video is a bit stuck, but the audio is getting better. All right, so I think that was a small technical glitch there as well. We'll wait for a few seconds until our speaker is back and until he wrap things up. And just want a small question. We do have a small message to put out as well once the session is done. So I'll let you all know about all of that. So stay tuned. Don't leave. I think Mr. Shoaib is back. So I'll pass it on back to him. Mr. Shoaib?
Awesome. Thank you, Arshad, for always filling my gaps. Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes, we do.
Love it. Let's continue. All right. So, second big block of today is it doesn't matter, right? Might be funny, but it doesn't matter. Okay. The main thing that you're going to take forward in your life from this entire 2 years in A level, right? And whatever that has meant for y'all, because y'all weren't even in school, right? What's going to matter is the skill set you develop, right? Let me end on that sort of point, right? Not the entire discussion, but let me end that by telling you that when you look back at life in all of these achievements that you've had, right? At the beginning, Arshad mentioned a few things that I've done. In all of that, all I see are the lessons I learned. And when I say lessons, I'm not even talking about, the syllabus, right? I'm talking about the skill set I accomplished. Because from being somebody who, in school was all about serving my school, when I was a prefect, it was all about leading the community. When I was in doing my degree, it was all about this ambition of becoming a corporate. When I was done with all of that, it was about getting into corporate. And then I was, working as a Unilever management trainee. And then it was about being the best I could be. And then I made a complete career shift and I worked for a startup. Then I left the startup and had my own startup. Then while I was in my startup, I started being a coach. Like in all of this journey, I have accumulated the skill sets that I had at each and every one. Tomorrow, I might wake up and decide to be a chef. And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that because I've gotten very comfortable with not caring about society's opinion on what people should do. I've gotten very good at it. The reason I've gotten good at it is because I've, right? But let me be very clear. When I say I don't care about society, it doesn't mean I do whatever the hell I want. It doesn't mean I hurt people, steal, rob, cheat. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean, right? So, sorry, I'm being asked how I got over that. I got over that because I kept doing it, guys. I kept switching, and every time I switched, I got a huge backlash from people. They're like, "Oh my god, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's crazy. He left the best job that he had. He had such a good pay at this company. Why did he?" And the more you keep doing, just like your exam questions, you get better at it. That's how I got better at it, right? Am I perfect? No. Do I have fear about what people think? Yes. But does it stop me? Not as much as it did before. All right. So the takeaway from the second block of today is that your exam is important, yes, but it's not as important as you think. So stop worrying and pressurizing yourself unnecessarily and focus on what you need to do in order to get through this. At the end of this, whether you fail, pass, get 3 A's or not, you'll still have breath in your body. Your limbs will still move. And to me, that's everything you need to move forward in life. Okay, that's everything you need if you set your mind to it, if you have the right mentality and the mindset. Okay? Did A-levels affect your life? No, A-levels didn't affect my life at all. Right? It was the skill set, right? That I achieved. For example, in that 1 month, how do you make the most of it? Right? That skill set. I use that in the future when I had deadlines, assignments, or even corporate things, or even in my own company. Right? Things like establishing the right networks and connections to get the information I needed. I have only 1 month for A levels, but there are people who have studied for 2 years. How do I tap their network? How do I get their key insights, their summaries? Can I get their notes? I learned that skill, right? I applied the same skill when I started my business. I am new to doing business, but there are plenty of people who've done business. Can I read books about business people? Can I take what they know? Can I speak to people that I know? Can I speak to the CEOs of companies? Can I get some nuggets of information from them? Can I take an online course? I saved years of my life by doing that. And that is what I took from A levels. That's how A levels affected my life, right? Not, I don't even remember what was in A levels, right? So that's what it is. Okay, cool. What if we have parents' pressure? You should have parents' pressure. Obviously, parents care about it. I'll tell you what, guys. I'll take your questions at the end. Otherwise, we'll lose the flow. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move into the last part of today's chat. Okay. So number one was about the power of your thoughts, focusing on what you can control in order to reduce the amount of negativity in your life. Right. Remember that our lives are an outcome of the things that we choose to give our attention to. That's very deep. Okay. Our lives, what we are living right now, is an outcome of the things we chose to give attention to. First and foremost, it's the decision of the Almighty. I agree. God is in control, but even that is dependent on what you give your energy, what you give your efforts to. So focus on what you need to do now to get through your exam. That's block number one. Block number two is, in case you're feeling an overwhelming pressure, like you're going to live or die based on this exam, guess what? You're not going to. All right, you're not going to. The last block is what I call the final lap. The final lap, right? You've got about a month for your examination. This is the final lap. All right. Now, when I played rugby in college, as we progressed into the end of the season, that's when things got the hardest, the toughest, because you've been training for months. Right? In a sport like rugby, you've been getting smashed every day of your life for the past 6, 8 months. So imagine the toll it takes on your body. It's like you're always in pain. Like whatever you do, you're in pain, right? You have the pinnacle of your injuries, all your injuries, and those injuries also in the worst condition now, right? But you're also playing your final few crucial matches. Final few crucial matches. In those moments, that's where we stop listening to our bodies. That's where we stop listening to any external forces or negative. That's when you start digging deep because you know this is the last lap. You know that after this, you can rest. You can take a breather. Forever? No. Are you never going to have pressure? No. Will you never have challenges in life? No. Okay. But you know, you get a breather, you get a break. Right? I like the comment about you don't look like you played rugby. You know, it's funny. Even in school, when I was playing rugby, I still remember one of my friends gave me a lift one day, and he got into the front seat. His mum was driving, and he was like, "Ami, this is Shoaib, and he plays rugby for Royal College." And she looked back and she was like, "Oh, you don't look like you play rugby, right?" I still remember that, right? And it's not the first time that I heard that, right? But thankfully, by the grace of the Almighty, I am a rugby football colorsman at Royal College. I used to be a bit buffer back then, but I was still one of the most smaller guys in the team. And I believe that my strength was in my thinking and in my heart. Never been somebody who's been, physically, up there kind of thing, right? So that's what I was saying, right? So now this is the final lap. This is the final lap, right? This is where you hit hard, you hit long, you don't allow anything to get in your way. This is when you optimize your schedule. You cut out all the extras. You cut out all the things that are not necessary for your exam. Right? I'll give you an example. You know, when Mark Zuckerberg's wife gave birth to their child, that was one of the few times in life that he took time out of Facebook, right? So you used to have this thing called paternity leave, right? So he took paternity leave and he came back to the organization. When he came back to the organization, he had a lot of things, a whole backlist of big decisions to be taken for Facebook. All right. Now, I want to tell you guys about this thing called willpower. Willpower, like imagine I'm in the rugby match. Willpower is when I'm tired, I can't breathe, my body hurts, the opposition is leading, but I still choose to push myself. That's what you call willpower, right? That's willpower. Willpower is when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like starting your work, but you start your work. That's willpower. It's not about succeeding. It's not about doing a good job. It's about just doing it. That's willpower. Willpower is like the battery of your phone. Willpower is like the battery of your phone. With every hour that goes by, with every decision that you take in your life, in the day, that battery comes down. That battery comes down. That's willpower. You can be Steve Jobs, you can be Bill Gates, you can be Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Jesus Christ, whoever, right? That willpower comes down. This is why scientifically we see husbands and wives or people in relationships have a higher chance of fighting in the night, right? Because their willpower to not get into an argument is low. You're tired, you've been through the whole day, all of that. And you guys also might have experienced that. In the night, that last call where you fight and you create a big scene, right? That's because you may have some inherent issues you need to work on, but the reason it blows up at that point is you're tired. It's the tail end of the day, right? So, what does this mean? What does all of this mean, right? So let's take the example of Mark Zuckerberg. Now, Mark Zuckerberg had many things to worry about, but one thing he didn't have to worry about or take a decision about was what he wears. Does anybody know what Mark Zuckerberg wears every day to work? Every day, what he wears to work. Anyway, yes, grey t-shirt, exactly. He wears a grey t-shirt and blue jeans. The only time I saw him in a suit was when he was being investigated by the federal court for the breach of information. That's the only time I saw him in a suit. Even when he went to meet the president in the White House, the guy wore a grey t-shirt and jeans. What a guy, right? Now, is it because Mark Zuckerberg can't afford to buy the clothes he wants? I'm asking you guys. Tell me. Is it because he can't afford to buy it? Does anybody here think? No, come on, that's a silly question. Is it because he's so bad at his fashion sense? Is he so bad? I mean, can't he hire the world's best fashion designer and get them to pick his outfits? Yes, I got the answer. One of you all have given the answer actually. Right. Okay, guys, just to be clear, Mark Zuckerberg is not unhygienic. He doesn't wear the same grey t-shirt and the same jeans every day. In fact, he wears a new t-shirt and, new meaning a clean t-shirt and trouser every single day. But he has hundreds of jeans and he has hundreds of grey t-shirts. When you open his wardrobe, it's just grey t-shirts. Because Mark Zuckerberg understands what's important in his life. His family is important. Facebook is important to him. Any decision outside of that, if it's not important, he makes it as simple as possible. He doesn't wake up and think, what am I going to eat today? Why? Because willpower goes down. Willpower goes down. If you wake up in the morning and you think, am I going to have a shower first or am I going to do this first? Am I going to have my tea first or am I going to eat eggs today? Am I going to wear this today or that today? All of those are using your willpower. So by 10 o'clock when you sit down to do your exam stuff, you've already used your battery. Battery is already gone down, right? Then when you scroll social media and you see the opinions, thoughts, pictures, images, songs, dances of another 100 million people, again, your willpower has gone down. Your focus battery has gone down. All of that has gone down. So my message to you is, this is not only Steve Jobs, right? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Steve Jobs wore that black turtleneck thingy every day to work because that was important to him. And don't get me wrong, if you're a model or if you're somebody who's an influencer or a fashion icon, dressing is a part of what adds value to what you do. So then it's an important thing. But what I'm saying is, for those of you sitting for your A-level examination, what's important now? I can't answer that. Okay, you need to. If for you watching Netflix is important in order to study better, then please don't stop watching Netflix even the day before your exam. Do it. But you know best what helps you and what stops you. This is the time, not tomorrow, right? Not yesterday. Right now, this moment is the moment you need to sit down and do an audit. Hurry. What are the things that are going to help me pass my exam? What's the environment I need, right? What needs to be around me? Who needs to be around me? If you are living in an extended family and you have an auntie or an uncle who's not helping you pass, get rid of them. No, I'm just kidding. Don't get rid of them. Get to a place where they can't bother you, right? Create a space that they can't bother you. Lock the door. I don't know. Wear something that you can't hear. Put earplugs, right? Do something, right? But I mean, all of those are extreme examples. But what I did was I spoke. I spoke to my family. I told them, guys, I need your support. I'm not going to get through this A-level examination in 1 month unless I get your support. If I am studying, try not to put the TV on. If I am studying, try not to call me and ask me if I ate. If I am studying, don't ask me if I washed my clothes. If I'm studying, if you can wash my clothes and put it to dry, do that for me. Right? Outsource. outsource the world's best companies. Nike outsources every damn thing other than the design of the product. Why? Marketing and the design of the product is what they stand out for, right? They don't stand out for accounting, right? They're not about HR. No, none of that is there. They're not about supply chain. No, they've outsourced all of that to the people in the world who do that the best. So they can focus on the main product. Same is true for you, my friend. Guys, don't say, I wish my family understands this. They won't understand this unless you go and chat and explain with them. We can't expect other people to understand us. They are busy trying to understand themselves. They think you don't understand it. I think you all don't understand. You all think I don't. Everybody thinks the other person doesn't understand. But nobody's making an attempt to go and sit and speak and create the understanding. Understanding won't fall from the sky. We have to create the understanding. The same is true with racism. The same is true with the ethnic conflict in our country. There are people saying, people misunderstand Christians, misunderstand Muslims. My question is, what are we as Christians, Muslims, Buddhists doing to educate people and to give that understanding? You can't just sit around and say they don't understand me, they think we are against them. Obviously, if you don't make an attempt to show them that or not, how can they? We are all worried about judgment, right? What is that guy thinking about my t-shirt? What is that guy thinking about the way I walk? Guess what? That's what everyone else is also thinking. They are thinking about what are you thinking. So at the end of the day, no one's thinking about you. Okay, we are not as important as we think we are. We need to break out of all these shackles and chains that we have created, right? Guys, this is your final lap. This is your final lap. This is your Facebook. This is your Apple right now, this moment. Don't worry about is A level important for my future. No, no, no. A level is important right now. You need to dial in, get granular, focus, tunnel vision on this goal. It's just 1 month, guys. What is 1 month? You can't do a damn thing in 1 month that's going to significantly change your life, right? Just focus on this. Get this over with. Get over it. Getting through your A levels may not change your life, but it won't make your life worse, right? So just focus on it and do it. All right. This is the final lap. The first point in the final lap is get rid of all the extras, the unnecessaries, the distractions. The second thing is work on recharging your batteries. Get your sleep. Get your sleep. Your sleep is important. You know that memories get solidified and formed in the brain when we sleep, not when we study, right? Get your sleep. Okay? Get your sleep. Get your nutrition. Minimize your sugar, right? I know that when we're studying, we think we need treats, right? We want rewards, but try to give yourself smart rewards. We know that sugar is inflammatory. We know that inflammation causes stress. We know that stress secretes cortisol. We know that when cortisol secretes, you are not in the best position to study, perform, memorize, recall, nothing, right? Minimize your sugar, increase your vegetable intake, increase your fruit intake. Don't eat too much of white carbohydrates, right? Optimize, plan everything to get you ready, right? Just like when we would get ready for a match, we ate for it, we drank for it, we slept for it, we didn't browse social media, we cut out all social media because we didn't want anybody's opinion coming in. All we envisioned was the match. Every moment, every try, every tackle, every throw, right? If you're a cricketer, every ball, every bowling thing. I'm not very good at cricket, right? Every batting action, you're fielding. Imagine every moment, right? Everything needs to now be centered around this. Take breaks that enhance your study. Don't browse social media in your break. Social media stimulates the mind. It gets you thinking, right? It attracts you towards more attractive color, dance, music, all of that. How can you come back to a sheet of paper after that? It's not attractive, right? Take breaks at work, walking in nature, right? Speaking to a loved one, meditation, some breathing. Guys, I can't stress the importance of staying physically active for your studies, right? I'm not talking about intense exercise routines. No, now it's not the time for that, right? If you're already doing it, continue it, right? But don't start now. It's not the best time to start. But move, sweat, elevate your heart rate. It increases the blood circulation to your brain, to your hippocampus, to your prefrontal cortex, right? All of that will increase your chances of you can sit and study for 1 hour, but that doesn't mean you learn things for 1 hour. It's a matter of what did you actually get out of that. And that is going to depend on how fresh you are, how alert you are, how focused you are, and how present you are. And that's not going to happen by accident. You have to design that routine, give that importance. All right. And that's what I mean by the final lap. But there's one more thing I want to add into the final lap. One more thing I want to add into the final lap. I saw some of you asking about the law of attraction. I saw some of you asking me about luck. I don't believe in either. I don't believe in either because of my personal spiritual and religious belief. So for me, my life is very simple, right? God created us. This is my life. It's very simple. God created us. How did He create us? He created us as imperfect humans. So can we be perfect? No, we can't. Then what does He expect of us? He expects us to do our best, which is always trying, right? Does He expect us never to sin? No, because we're imperfect. Obviously, we're going to sin. But the question is, will we realize our mistakes? Will we seek forgiveness and will we work every single day to do better? That's my philosophy in life. All right. And the second component, right? The second component is we are here to serve. For me, we are here to serve, right? Whether that's serving people, whether that's serving the environment. For me, it's easy because it's about serving the Almighty. And for me, serving the Almighty means serving the people, serving every creation of God. So that's the trees, that's the environment, that's my brothers, my sisters, that's every brother, every sister in the world. It doesn't say only people who are Muslims. No, no, no. Every single human being, right? Treat them equally, be good to them. You may not agree with them, you may not have the same beliefs, but respect them, right? Respect them, right? And that's why I want to add this last component: service. Service. Even if you believe in God or you don't, even if you follow a religion or you don't, can any of you tell me that you helped somebody else? You helped somebody else and you didn't feel better. You didn't feel good. Is there anybody who can tell me that? You didn't feel more motivated. You didn't feel good about yourself. You didn't feel you could do more, right? You didn't feel that things are going to get better for you. Is there anybody who can tell me that helping other people is bad? Not helping other people with expectation, okay? That's a different thing. If you help people with expectation, you're bound to get disappointed. Even if you do something for example, even if I do something for my wife, I do it just because I love her. But that's not my primary thing. My overall objective is if I am to be of service to the Almighty, if I am to do my best, I must do my part of service, right? And if that doesn't get reciprocated, the chances of me getting hurt are less because I didn't do it for a person. I didn't do it for a person. And that's what I'm encouraging you guys. The best service you can do right now is to help your colleagues get through the exam. Help your colleagues get through the exam. Economics was one of the hardest subjects I had in my BSc program, right? I did accounting and finance from the University of London, the London School of Economics program. Economics is one of the hardest subjects, right? The day before my econ exam, I was really worried about the exam because it was a tough subject, right? I had done my part, right? The day before the exam, I was seated in my institute. And when I was getting ready for my final revision, two people who I didn't know much, I didn't know them much, they came and sat down and said, "Bro, we're struggling with this area. Can you help us?" I took a look at the area. It was actually an area that I was good at. I could understand it. And in that moment, I put aside my revision. And from 7 p.m., I still remember it took me till 10:34. I remember the exact time. It took me till 10:34 to finish teaching them that concept. It left me very little time for me to do my own revision before the exam because the exam was at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. And I scored, if I'm not mistaken, either 72 or 76 for that econ paper. And I'm telling you, it wasn't because of my greatness. It wasn't because I was awesome or amazing. I did my part. I prepared. I practiced. I did everything. But I believe it was a blessing. It was the blessing of putting aside my own interests and serving a fellow human being, expecting what were they going to give me in return? What were they going? Are they going to write my paper? Are they going to give me marks? No, nothing. I had nothing to gain from them. Nothing. But that blessing put me in a spiritual and mental state that helped me do the best that I could at that exam. So my closing note is in the final lap: be of service to other people. Be of service to that friend who's struggling. It can be in terms of knowledge, maybe in a subject that you're good, or you can just be a good friend who calls up and checks on them. If they're stuck, if they're not taking action, get them to take action. Get them to do that one question. Give them the support that they need. I promise you will never go wrong in life if you do that. And that, my friend, is my ending note. And if time permits by the organizers, you can now ask your question.
All right, okay. So thank you, Mr. Shoaib. I think there's a lot of questions, and I think the most interesting thing and something that people are really curious about is where did you school? I think that was the message was clear. And what? Okay, sorry. Hold on. Right, I think that message was clear. So I think Mr. Shoaib is from Royal College, Colombo 7, and I think a nice place to be. But a final note before we wrap things up, guys. I know all of you all must be eager to, go away. Maybe do have a few other things planned up on your day. But give me a 5 minutes. I'll tell you an interesting story, a story that none of us could have actually even thought of, right? So Mr. Shoaib spoke of, how uplifting and how we could really ace our exam, how we could think, how we could manage our thoughts, and how we could balance them all. But have you realized there are also some individuals just like us, very similar to us, but they don't even have an access to proper online education? There is a set of people out there, right, who has not even gone to school, who has not even properly been educated, who has not even done their A levels. Since we've had a lot of questions that came on the chat box, right, and a lot of answers as well, I would like to give you one last question, and I would want an answer from you here. Suppose just after this Zoom call, we go out there and we open our tap. Will there be water flowing? Can you give me a yes or a no? Will there be water flowing out? I'm looking for answers from everyone, guys. The last 5 minutes, I promise you that. For sure. I've got around 100 messages all over here, but there is not a single one that says no. But if I told you there are some individuals, and what if I told you how privileged we are to have such thing? You'll be wondering, right? You'll be asking me, what nonsense is this guy talking, right? We all have water. We all have water when we open our taps. And some of you all did ask me, Aya, why are we doing this seminar? Why are you all doing something like this? And I think now is the right time to give you an answer. First of all, is definitely to help students out like y'all, to make sure that A levels is done, make sure that y'all ace the subject. But secondly, we are also doing this to raise funds for a village in Monaragala named Nagala. So you all must be wondering, what is this, right? What are you all doing with Nagala? I'll just tell you a small story out here. There is this village which does not even have a proper water system. Now, if I tell you water system in simple terms, guys, I'll tell you all, right? They don't even have a tap, right, that they could go and open to have water flowing out there. The only source of water in this entire village, I'm not talking about a house here, guys, I'm talking about an entire village. The only source of water for them is a well. But things get worse. Even this well right now is dried up. So the only source right now for them is to walk 2 kilometers, get some water for their day. Something that we would have only seen in movies. Can you all just imagine that there is families like this? There are villages like this in the very country that we are living to. So how privileged are we? How lucky are we to have all of these facilities, right? You all must be thinking, I'm not doing that great. But trust me, compared to everyone out there, we are the lucky ones. But does it stop there? It shouldn't. We need to make some effort. And in order to do that, that is exactly why we from the Rotaract Club of University of Colombo, Faculty of Management and Finance, have come forward to help these families, to make sure that these kids also live their dream. There's so many just like us. Don't they have dreams? They also do. Don't they want to be everything that we want to be? They do. But they can't. It's too tough out there. They are not even able to satisfy their basic human need. What about dreams then? So we have come forward to make sure that these dreams never die. that these dreams are still alive. So for that purpose, solely for that purpose, we have this project target to help fund this great initiative. So as you all know, the project target has two phases. Phase one of it is the seminar series, and accompanying that, we also have a model paper book. Some of you all would have heard it, some of you all would have not. I'll take a couple of minutes to tell you what this is all about. So looking the two main purposes why we came up with something like this, right? Why we came up with something like this is one, is definitely to help you all out, because we do understand that exam practice, doing questions is very important. So as a club, we have taken the effort, we've spent sleepless nights making 7 model papers, which will be given to you in a bundle with answers, comprehensive answers that we have prepared. So 2 for economics, 2 for business studies, and 2 for accounting, and also 1 general English paper. So there is a 7 papers with answers that you all could purchase. So how is this going to help? Every single cent that we earn from this initiative will be put out to that project, will be put out to keep a lot of dreams alive, will be sent to make sure that every single family out there has water, at least that basic need. I know some of you all might not really care. I have all of this. I have everything with me right now. Why should I, right? I know that thought does come up, but I do understand. I'm looking at the chat box. I see a lot of people actually interested in purchasing this. I see a lot of people who are actually willing to contribute. But I would like to go a little bit more, right? One thing that y'all could definitely do is help us, help them. Do purchase this book. It will definitely be something that is going to be really valuable for y'all and would also be really valuable for all the students out there. So there will be a message that will come out on your groups with the bank details to everything that you all need to purchase this. But that's not it, guys. I think we could do more, right? As the youth, as students who are doing A-levels this year, as me from a university, I think we could do much more. Something else that I would urge all of you all to do is to make sure that you at least pass the message on to a friend. Encourage a friend to buy it as well. Maybe if you are able to maybe give in, right? Maybe if you are able to give in maybe a monetary contribution. Maybe if you know someone who is wealthy enough who could contribute. I'm pretty sure that none of you all are earning, all of you all are students out here, right? None of you all are able to contribute monetarily. But at least a small contribution by buying the book, or at least helping us find someone who could contribute. It's in basic context, guys, it's a project of worth 5 million. We're almost there. We've collected 80% of it, I'll say. We're short of 1 million, right? That's a lot of money. But this book and all of your help will definitely help us get there. Will definitely help us get water to an entire village, and will also help us make those lives, right? Make those dreams come true of every single student out there. So that, with that message, making it very clear why we're doing this seminar and why things are happening. One is to benefit you all, and the second one is definitely to help these innocent souls out there. So with that message, I will send this message across to all of your groups, and please do help us. Send it to all of your friends. Encourage them to buy it as well. I know not everyone here is there. If you all could maybe do something more than just the 600, do come forward. We highly appreciate all of that. So that's it from me. I've got a lot of messages on the chat box. I will do respond. So that's it from me for today, and that's it from all of us for today. We'll see you all back on probably the 4th of October. We'll keep you all notified on the group on the next session, where we will actually be starting to learn the subjects. So till then, have a very good day. See you, and that's a goodbye from us. Thank you.